What is up, survivors? For today's mod review, we're going to be going over the RR-HomeDeko and more mod. This is a really big mod. There's a lot of stuff going on in here. This mod has definitely jumped into my top 5 as far as building mods and decor stuff goes. There's a lot to go over, and we don't necessarily have everything out here, but we're going to go over what we can. All right, so we're going to start. I gotta cut that. There's a lot. There's so much to go through, but we're going to start all the way in this back and kind of work our way over. And this is basically decor. So actually, I lied. Let's start here. So this is all interior decorating sort of style stuff, but then some of it is also really functional too. So we're going to go over everything. Basically, you're going to need to make this RR home smithy. That home smithy is unlocked at level 1. You're going to get it. It requires 5 Ingram points to level up, to open up. But once you do, you'll have all the stuff opened up inside of that. There's some extra stuff outside of that we'll talk about as well, like this travel terminal, but we're going to talk about all of it as well. But essentially 99.9% of the stuff you're going to make is going to come out of this home smithy structure. You're going to build it, toss it down, and this is where everything is going to be crafted at. It's pretty cool because it's definitely organized in all of these different little subcategories to make finding stuff a heck of a lot easier, which is good because there's quite a lot going on in here. Anyway, let's go back and start down here. Like I said, so these are all beds. Every single. Keep in mind that all of this stuff is paintable. You can change the wood options on a lot of these things as well, and you can still lay on them like you would normal beds as well. Paintable, everything pretty much. Basically, if you see just like a white monotone like this, it's paintable, and you can change the colors of just about anything in this mod, which is pretty crazy. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different beds on this side. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different beds on this side. I can count, right? 5, yeah, definitely. All different types. Pretty cool. Right off the bat, we have a heck of a lot of options. We have little end tables, like kind of nightstand bed table sort of tables, a bunch of different ones, and they all do store things, and they store a lot. If you notice that, that's 300 slots that these guys have. So not only is this just an easy, not only does it look cool and matches with everything else, but it's also really good at storing stuff and really, really small when you look at it. So that's kind of your bedroom stuff. Now this closet wardrobe stuff, these are all separate sections. They actually snap together though. So you actually have this cut in over here, and then this cut in over here on this side that you can actually store all your stuff in. And again, if you've seen these are 300 slot storage things that you can throw in here. It's not like a dedicated storage where you can only put certain things into. You can pretty much put whatever you want to inside of these guys. And again, you have the change wood option on here, a lot of storage, and these things are modular. So all these different sections are actually snapped together. So you can line these up however you want. Like, for instance, this piece right here in frame is separate. This piece is separate. This piece is separate. And you can make these and just stagger them or do whatever you want with them, however you want. This little end pieces as well. These are all separate and they all snap together. Pretty wild. And I love the detail work, right? All the clothing hung up in here. It looks pretty cool. The stuff on the shelves. I love it. It looks neat. I like how there's essentially 2 different options, right? So if you look at this, there's like an option where they have the clothes in it and then an option where it's empty. Which is cool. Completely up to you which way you want to go. Behind me is a bunch of different curtain options. Now these curtains are placed a little funky because I should have switched stone walls around. That's one thing I have noticed with this mod, is that if you standard stone walls, and it really only seems to apply to the stone walls, which of course is the wall that I decided to use, but on the inside of the wall where the wooden beams are at, it wants to lay, most of the things that you place on the wall mount want to lay against the actual wall, not the wooden pieces. So definitely be careful of that when you're placing some of this stuff. But anywho, you have a bunch of different curtains of very many varies in sizes. So you have these general curtain like runners, and then you have drapes, and you have, what are they, shears, and then all the blinds, and you got everything. You got everything. It's pretty wild in here. And obviously they get pretty large. And again, all of these are paintable as well. Paint them all. Paint every single one of them to your heart's content. Backing up in here is kind of like just like a bathroom section. You have 2 different showers in here. It looks like I can just come in here and shower up, clean up, but you have 2 different showers. So like one's like kind of just a bigger one, one's a single one basically. You have a bunch of these bathroom cabinets. All of these do snap together as well. So like this sink is one piece, this is one piece, this is one piece. So they're actually separate. And this one actually works as a water source as well, but the sink does anyway. You have the bathtub. You have like this little laundry basket here. You have a toilet bowl brush, which is interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. Toilet paper roll and the toilet as well. Doesn't look like you get the XP bonus when you use this guy either. Another awesome thing to note, right, is even these small like towel laundry baskets actually have a 300 slot capacity, which is pretty wild. We got this sweet mirror in here, so if you want to look at something really funny looking like a guy with a chili pepper on his head, you can see that in the mirror. We have a towel rack and an actual washing machine as well. The washing machine works as a grinder as well, which is pretty cool. Uses electricity or gas, but it actually works as a grinder, and you can actually get even more stuff out of it, like corrupted nodules, things like that as well. You can still get some of the conversions like what you would expect out of like an S plus or SS grinder as well. So not only is this mod really cool looking, but a lot of these pieces, these individual pieces, are functional and can replace your current crafting stations. All right, coming back out. This is a whole lot of furniture going on over here, so we're kind of going to work our way this way, go all the way down, and then we'll go to this room on the side too. You know what? Actually, that's a lie. I lied, you guys. It feels so horrible. We're going to start in here actually, because this is 90% of this is just cosmetic, right? So we have the clock on the wall here. We got some bookshelves that you can have up here, and they work as like blueprints and notes, stuff like that. You store those in here. You have a bunch of really cool paintings. You got like the Magmasaur. That looks like one of the maps. A couple of really cool, like a raptor photo and stuff like that. The sun's kind of glaring on it here. Let me see if I can. Yeah, there we go. So it's an Allosaur. That looks like the island. Yeah, definitely the island. Yeah, the Magmasaur picture looks pretty wild. And then this raptor picture as well. It's a little holographic. Anyhow, we have a map table. You have books that you can individually place down like normal, but you have this cool map table. This wheel is just a decorative wheel you can hang on the wall. This is an artifact storage container. You can store your artifacts in there. You have a general storage box of just general storage stuff. As you can see, these are all 300 slots. You should probably notice the trend here. What do we got here? More storage box stuff. We have this other store. A lot of these are just, they pretty much do the same thing. So from like, if you notice, they pretty much do the same thing. They just look different. That's the idea. And keep in mind that all of these do snap together as well. And then you have that open storage box down here. Going all the way around here are couple different tables, like sort of like living room style tables, like coffee tables almost. So you have these tables here, a bunch of different style tables, different aesthetics. You have some office tables, like for like a desk, I guess. You get TVs. You have TVs. We legit have TVs. It's pretty wild. Little PlayStations and little Xboxes around here as well. This is like a little folder binder thing. Over here we have a PC, so you get like the monitor, mouse, keyboard, and you actually can build a tower separately and put it there. So this is incredibly in-depth if you're looking to really get into decorating or really get into base building, something really crazy with a cool interior. We have game tables. You have a chess table. You have like a foosball table basically. You have a piano. We got air hockey table as well. It's pretty neat. So this is kind of like your outside decor stuff. We have some like deck chairs and lawn chairs and stuff. And you also have a table with an umbrella, but then you also have a diving board. So if you made yourself a pool, you can go ahead and do that. Excuse the noise. That's a tech generator back there, just powering some of this stuff that requires power because I'm lazy and I didn't want to run electrical wires. You have a cool little door alarm system back here. Over here. Oop. You have a cool little door alarm system over here. Doesn't look like it actually does anything other than store items for you, but it does look cool. Something on the front door. This is another kind of like a home entertainment center where you can basically place the TV like inside of it after you place this down if that's what you want to do. Obviously, we have 3 different TVs kind of set up as well. Roping back inside of here. So now we'll start from this end, work our way down there. Some of that stuff down there, some of the really cool crafting endgame sort of style stuff. Oh boy, we have a bar cabinet with the storage. Oddly enough, this one's 150. I'm not sure why, but yeah. So this is like just another storage thing. It looks cool. We have a bunch of different styles of tables, like bar height and then regular height for like a dining room style tables, I guess, of all shapes and kinds. We have all shapes and sizes of stools, like bar stools, all that good stuff. We have fireplaces. So you have a couple different options for these fireplaces as well. They work pretty much like you just throw wood in there, it burns it up. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much how all these work. This one, it looks like, yeah, you can change the color of the flame. So the open one's a little bit different because you can change the color of the flame and you can set it to be like an on-off sort of thing. While the regular fireplaces just kind of work like a fireplace, like a fuel source or light source, basically. What is it? All the chairs. We went through all the different chairs. All sorts of different chairs, all sorts of different tables for what's going on here. You have all sorts of placeables as far as what you can put on the tables. Like we have a plate, we have a pizza, we have like a basket of fruit. This egg boiler is kind of cool. It uses electricity for fuel. What we got here? We got the egg boiler. We got the birthday cake, which is pretty cool. I think it does. Yeah, it does say happy birthday. We have a cool little fruit basket up here. There's a couple different ones of these cupboards. There's a couple of different variations of them. We have all sorts of bread and food and donuts and cups, and silverware and wine bottles and glasses and all sorts of stuff that you can put out here as far as decorating inside. It's pretty wild. Pretty wild. Over here, I have a couple different more tables, a couple of candles that you can have. You can light up. Whether it be just straight up candles or on candlesticks. This crystal vase is pretty cool. This automatically opens gotcha crystals for you. So it's kind of like that crystal cracker option, but that's that. You have a couple different normal lights you can just turn on and off. There's these cool guitars that you hang on the wall. I haven't really noticed, I haven't seen any other use for them other than the fact that you can hang them on the wall, which is pretty neat. Let's go. Oh, we got rugs. So you definitely have rugs here as well. So the rugs, you can actually like change their height and stuff too. You have a small one, then you have a medium one, then you have this gigantor rug over here. So you can cover a lot of space. Nice thing with these guys is I've noticed you don't really need to adjust the height. They fall pretty good, pretty evenly on regular foundations without having to worry about any of that stuff. And you also have, obviously, you have the welcome too. Couple different side tables basically, and they're kind of like sideboards. That's exactly what they're called, as sideboards. I have a few of those. Again, have 300 slots, plenty of storage. This is actually the chair for the piano, but you actually have some office chairs here for your office desk, and some like normal chairs here, and a bunch of different couch variations. There's actually a ton more than what I put out here, but I was slowly running out of room because there's so many of them. But there's a bunch of different angles to kind of like make it exactly how you want, have it all connect up right. We have a bunch of hanging lights up here as well, all different styles and shapes, and they all do in fact work. So you do have working lights that also look cool as well. I think there's what, 3, 6, and it's like 9, 10. So there's about a dozen different lights out here, which is pretty cool. Coming over this way, we're going to talk about some of the kitchen stuff. We got plants. So you got all sorts of different plants that you can throw down for decoration, which is nice. All sorts of different ones. And they look good. They look like they fit into Ark. Even though I've never seen this pull a flower anywhere in Ark, it looks like it fits in here, which is pretty cool. You have the trash bin. So the trash bin will actually spoil raw meat for you. So it can spoil, it's kind of like a meat spoiler. You have this cool little mini fridge that works like a fridge. We have all these cabinets are actually different sections. So like the stove, the sink, this cabinet, they all snap together with a pretty clean line that has like this granite countertop looking thing to it, but they actually all connect, and they have a pretty big slot size on them. And you also get ones that mount on the walls. So you can get like a range that goes over the kitchen cabinet and all that good stuff. What do we got? Your microwave works as basically kind of like a preserving bin. It's pretty much what we're looking at. Like you're going to make all your turkey and stuff out of that. Oddly enough, you have a coffee maker. The coffee maker actually works like a generator. You do place fuel in it and turn it on like you normally would. The blender here actually works as a chemistry bench. So again, even if you don't really, like if you're using this mod, there's a lot of functionality because all these crafting items that would normally take up so much space now only take up that much space. Like this stuff right here and the washing machine so far is really the only stuff you'd need to be able to craft everything that you need to craft, right? Your stove works like what you would think. It works like a stove, but then it also works as a cooker as well. So you have that too. We have the sink over here, so you can just use it as a water source to fill up stuff, fill water into. You have the food dispenser, which essentially works like a feeding trough, basically is all it is. We have the kibble cooker, which is kind of like this crockpot looking thing, which is specifically for making kibble, but then there's also some special recipes like for nameless venom or for wyvern milk that you can actually make those out of. Well, the toaster, oddly enough, works as a refining forge. Like an industrial forge is what I should say. It actually does it pretty quickly. We have the seed mortar, which basically turns items into seeds for you so that you can turn them into seeds and just immediately use them as seeds. So basically what we're looking at here, just the appliances that we're looking in here, is essentially all your crafting needs. This plus like that washing machine grinder, it's like all your crafting needs are sitting right here in front of you. You do have a refrigerator as well that stores stuff like a refrigerator. Does what a refrigerator does, right? this is sort of a mixture between decoration stuff and then stuff that actually serves a purpose. We have a bird cage over here. Got a cool little chibi display that you can use. The vacuum cleaner, if you're familiar with the S Plus or SS like collection devices, this is kind of how this works. It just collects normal devices that are on the ground, like things that just drop on the ground. So it can store these things and it can actually distribute some of the stuff as well. This travel terminal is one of the ones that is kind of what I said you make outside of that. This works as basically a transmitter. So you can actually transmit items, survivors, and creatures to other arks this way. So it kind of works like kind of like an obelisk as far as transferring things. It's pretty much it though. Now obviously you would want this mod running on both places that you're doing that from. The super vacuum cleaner still does the same thing, but then you also get a lot of distribution options. So basically the big difference between this guy and this guy is this guy pretty much does just the collection. This guy does collection and distribution. So you still have all the collection items like you normally would, but then you can also distribute all of the things out as well. So definitely this trumps that hands down. You don't need both. You have the RR refrigerator, which is kind of just like a techie version, basically. You know, instead of like fitting in here, if you're looking for something a bit more techie, that's pretty much what you would go with is this. You have this element crafter that I can't get into that basically works, that will just convert dust and element shards into element for you, which is pretty neat. You can just take all your dust and throw it in here and make element. You have another chibi display here. Just another, it's a more techie looking one, right? So you have that normal one over there and you have a more of a techie looking one. It looks like this mod is slowly getting added to like things that are more like techie stuff. So you have both options to do more of a modern look like what is pretty much shown out here, or more of a sci-fi look as well. The radiators essentially work as ACs, but you can clamp them into like the walls, just how I have them. You have a long one and a short one that you can just clamp to the walls. Just a room fountain, just decoration. Looks cool, right? You have a globe, looks cool, right? We have a water dispenser, which will basically dispense water. I know that sounds crazy, but that's actually what it does. Pretty cut and dry. I'm definitely missing a few things. There's a few things I didn't place. There was a couple of those structures, but the big stuff, like the big ticket stuff, is definitely right here as far as like crafting items go. But golly, this is a huge mod. This is a huge mod just for interior decorating of your base. This is absolutely bonkers. Man, like this combined with a pretty sweet building mod means that you could do some absolutely bonkers stuff as far as building. And I love seeing mods like this because I tend to see a lot of really good building structures mods, but there's not a whole lot of interior sort of mods. So this is really, I'm really glad that I stumbled on this in RR series in general. We'll definitely have a link to the Steam Workshop in the description of the video so you guys can check that out. I would highly advise checking out anything RR related in the Steam Workshop for Ark, because these guys have pumped out a lot of mods for this game. And if any of them are even half the quality that this one is, then they all got to be pretty amazing. This is huge. This kind of changes the game for decorating. This is perfect for an RP server, for a PvE server, if you're a builder, if you just like to build and do cool stuff like that in Ark. This is perfect for that. And even if you're not and you happen to be on a server that has something like this, some of these things being as functional as they are for the size that they are from an efficiency standpoint is pretty amazing. So even if you don't utilize all of it, even if you only utilize parts of it, it is definitely going to save you a lot of trouble. I think it's cool. It's kind of like an interior mod meets S Plus or SS. It's like a mash between the two, but then I like the style. We don't too often, I think we see more of a primitive or feudal medieval style, and then we see a futuristic style, and we don't see very much in between. And this is a really good example of like pretty modern in the between dead center current day, some of this stuff is what you would see in somebody's house right now, which is pretty cool. But that's it, guys. Like I said, we'll have a link to the Steam Workshop in the description of the video, and feel free to check that out at your leisure. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. I'll see you guys in the next one.